So here is a breakdown of heroes and monsters. Um, I guess the first step would be to generate the map. And for those of you who didn't take my class last year, the map might be a bit confusing. Like you might be thinking creating a graphical map, or what exactly do you mean? What I mean is this is all abstract, right? I mean, we're working with the command line and taking in text and outputting text. So we just need to have a data structure that will represent a 10 by 10 world. So the way that I kind of like to imagine it is this would be here a 5 by 5 world. And then I'm going to place my hero here. I'm going to place my monsters here, here, and here. I'll place my sword, maybe my health potions over here. And if the user says east, then you're going to move the hero from this spot to this spot. And if the hero, as he moves along through the world, he lands on top of an item or a monster, the item he's going to use right away, and then the monster he's going to fight. Right? So this is a 5 by 5 world, but we want to do a 10 by 10 world. So we're going to do it using a 2D array. So here we have the 2D array. This is happening in main, right? So this is what should be happening in main. You're generating the map. You're creating your items and your enemies. We're placing the enemies and the items onto the map, and then we're navigating the world. All of this is happening in main, and in main is where you're making your objects. So in order to make your objects, you have to have those classes. So you have to have an enemies class, you have to have a items class, and you have to have a hero class probably. So after we have them, how do we make our world? We create a 2D array. We initialize every space with a value. I'm going to use -1. So -1, what does that mean? That means blank space. There's nothing there, right? And then what do we need to do after generating the map? That's generating the map. So you make the 2D array, initialize every space to -1. So of course we do that using a for loop. So 2 for loops, and we initialize everything. And then after we've initialized, we want to create our items and our enemies. So let's say, for instance, I have a hero called H, or let's call it hero, right? And so where do I want to place him on the map? Well, I think in the description it states that I want him right here in the bottom left corner. So I'm going to replace this -1 here with a 0, because in my mind's eye, you could use a different arrangement, but in my mind's eye, a 0 in the 2D map, 2D array signifies the hero. So I put a 0 there, and I know that my hero is there. Alternatively, you could use words, right, or letters. S is for space, H is for hero, and so on. But however it is you want to think about it. So I put my hero on the map. That takes no thought because he's always supposed to be there. So he would be in array sub 9 sub 0. Am I wrong? Yes, I am wrong. So array sub 0. Yes. Sub 9 is equal to 0. So now that I got my hero on the map, well, I need to get my enemies on the map. And the enemies are a bit more complicated because they are randomly placed onto the map. So here we're going to be using random, and the ranges need to be good. But not only do the ranges need to be good, but you have to place it on the map in a space that doesn't have a item there or a monster there. So you need to check for that, right? And then if there is an item there or there is a monster there, then you need to run the algorithm again. So continue running the algorithm that's finding a random space in the 2D array until you find a blank space where you can actually place them. So of course that would include a while loop, right? So you have to keep on doing it until a certain condition is met. And that's placing your enemies and your items onto the screen. And then navigating your world, that's another loop. And the loop is taking in the input, so your move is equal to input. And then based on the move, you're going to adjust the hero's position in this 2D space. So, I mean, I guess you could kind of do a 0 here, but maybe an easier way to do this, now that I'm thinking about it, is to have a variable, a instance variable in hero xpos and a ypos. And then as you take in your input, you're going to adjust your x and y pos, and then you're going to check. Right? So given the x pos and the y pos, you're going to check, and what is check going to do? It's going to take it, compare that x position, y position, which is row and column, to the 2D array, and if you find an item, then you're going to take the item, right? Remove it. So remove it by replacing whatever value you deem to be the item with a -1, which means an empty space. And then you're going to output to the screen, oh, hero has gotten a sword, and you're going to adjust his attack, range, right? So like if his attack range before was like from 5 to 10, well, now that he has a sword, his attack range is now from 10 to 30. And so, yeah, so that's kind of what's going to happen. I don't know. I think that should be enough, right, for you guys to bite into. If not, let me know, and I'll make videos on any points that need clarification. But that's kind of how it goes.